Welcome back to 760 Sports. I'm Eduardo Espinosa, and today's episode, it's the 20th episode of this channel, and I couldn't be any happier. Thank you guys for all the views, likes, comments, and the support you guys have given me so far. We're going to talk about some of the biggest underdogs, and for that, I have a special guest, Ryan Bowler. Ryan, what's your pick as the biggest underdog in sports history?
All right. Well, I got a good one for you. A lot of people know me. I'm a big football fan. And being a Steelers fan especially, this pains me to say. But for me, my underdog, the one and only six-time Super Bowl champ, Tom Brady. Now, hold on. I know what you're thinking. How can he be an underdog? He's so good. No, think about this. He was drafted in the 6th round. And he was a backup quarterback for 3 years. 3 years. If he was so good, why wasn't he starting? This guy was seriously overlooked by a lot of teams, and then now he's thrown for 9,988 yards. He's thrown 541 touchdowns and won 6 Super Bowls. Tell me that's not an underdog.
Definitely. And Ryan, going kind of along the same lines as you, my biggest underdog would be Luka Modric, the Croatian midfielder who in 2018 had a breakout season for him. He was obviously part of the three-peat that Real Madrid was able to conquer 3 Champions Leagues in a row over 1,000 days as Europe's best club and the best club in the world. But in an era where Messi and Ronaldo ruled, winning a Ballon d'Or, taking it away from those two monsters is pretty impressive, especially after the year he had won the 3rd Champions League with Real Madrid, as I mentioned, and led Croatia to their first World Cup final where they unfortunately lost to France. And now we go over to JD. JD, what's your pick?
My pick, I have a team. This team won it all, but they were considered underdog, even though they had the 2nd best record in the American League. And I'm going to go with the 2004 Boston Red Sox. And this is why. Even though they had a great team, even though they had the 2nd best record in the whole American League, they were losing the series 3-0 against their rivals, the Yankees. Even in the 3rd game of the series, they lost against the Yankees 19-8. Let me repeat that, 19-8 in the 3rd game. And the Yankee was 3-0. How do you come back of being 3-0, losing the 3rd game 19-8 to win it all? For me, they were the underdog and they achieved greatness.
Do you guys feel like we left someone out? Do you guys feel like there was any honorable mentions we forgot about?
I was doing research and I saw they put Team Tebow in a list on Denver because first of all, they thought he was not going to be drafted in the 1st round. He went 30th in the 1st round with Denver, and with his knee style of like thanking, praising, they won and they entered the playoff before Peyton Manning took the reins and they kicked out Tebow. So Tebow was an underdog being drafted in the NFL.
That's very interesting. I did not think about that. And you mentioned they got to the playoffs and, they actually beat the Steelers in the playoffs. I was at that game, and I'm telling you right now, walking into that stadium, the entire atmosphere was, oh, yeah, baby, we got this. We're moving on. We're gonna wipe the floor with Denver. And next thing you know, Tim Tebow comes out here taking a kneel and just absolutely mops the floor with us. And that was one of our better teams of the year, too. We had Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell at the time, and he still beat us. So that's very interesting. I did not think about that.
And now to switch it around, gentlemen, who do you think sports fans or sports experts consider underdogs when they really weren't?
Ooh, that's a nice question. Like the last Super Bowl of the Patriots, they were not considering the team really well. They were considered like underdogs, but not that much because it's the Patriots. But you put that in my mind, and I start thinking, man, who do they thought who was an underdog? Tyson Fury in his last fight.
If I had to take a guess, Man, that's tough. I mean, I hate to bring up his name again, but Antonio Brown. I mean, that guy, he wears 84 for a reason. I mean, that was his pick in the draft, and everyone thought, oh, he's from Central Michigan. Yeah, okay, he's a third string there at a D1 college. Okay, so he's good, but can he play with the speed at the NFL? Next thing you know, 9 seasons in the NFL, he's breaking records, and people are calling him the best receiver in the NFL before he had his little situation. But that'd be my go-to guy.
And gentlemen, just to close it off, which team that beat the all-star roster that the Golden State Warriors had in the finals would you consider more of an underdog? The Cleveland Cavaliers or the Toronto Raptors?
They both were put in a particular situation. For example, the Toronto Raptors beat a tired, injured Golden State Warriors. Mm-hmm. And when they had Durant on the court, they have even Klay Thompson on the court, that Golden State team was wrecking. And that was a difficult part for the Toronto Raptors. And in the Cleveland side, I think Cleveland is more an underdog. So that Golden State Warrior was really good, but they didn't have Draymond Green, even though Cleveland had LeBron James, even though Cleveland had Kevin Love, even though they had Kyrie Irving, that team was an underdog against that Golden State Warrior. So for me, it was the Cleveland Cavaliers.
For me, I'm going to have to say Toronto because we all know how good Kawhi is at this particular point in time. Kawhi, one of the best regarded players in the league at the moment. But at the time, we didn't see him that way. I know a lot of people that would not put Kawhi Leonard in the top 10 players in the NBA until he did what he did during the playoff series and took his team to a championship. But, that's the main reason, but they have one of the best benches in the NBA, and a lot of basketball fans, this is how I pick out who's a true basketball fan and who's not a true basketball fan, is if you know about the benches, because in basketball, bench play is everything. If your bench can come on to, say, a team like Golden State that was absolutely wrecking people, right? If your bench can come onto a court and hold them into submission to where your starters can come back on the court and finish the job, that, for me, makes a basketball team, which is why I'm going to go with the Raptors on that one.
Thank you guys for this time. It was really fun. And before we go, where can we find you guys at?
You can find me on Twitter, JD Basabe, and on Instagram, JD Basabe1, and Twitter, JD Basabe, and Instagram, JD Basabe1.
You can find me on Instagram at RyanHBWLR, and then in my bio, all my social medias are listed right there. So go ahead and check me out.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Thanks, Eduardo.
Thank you, Eduardo.